Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
You could be driving
smooth handling and smart interior styling. Just two reasons why the all-new Honda CR-V was once again named a Car and Driver's 10 Best Trucks and SUV list. Come see your new CR-V today at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Hi gang, Clarence Bugs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hello and welcome as we start the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bugs Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours in your little slice of South Louisiana heaven since the last opportunity we had to spend some time with you and yours at the end of last week. We start today's show with, for lack of a better phrase, the realization of what our country has become. You may well remember when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the office of president and vice president. There was a refrain all across the country, all over the media, that, quote, the adults are back in charge. If this is how the adults run things, this pretty much tells you the shape our country is in. It is disheartening for a lot of people. The story last week of cocaine being found in the White House. And so far, all we've found out is that nothing has been found out. It is very telling that what is arguably the most secure place on the planet, the White House. I've only been one time, and that was back as a freshman in college. And even then, and we're talking 1975, 48 years ago, it was literally unheard of that anything could happen in the White House, and the president, vice president, Secret Service, FBI, just go down the list of alphabet agencies, they wouldn't know what was happening, or when something did happen, they couldn't get to the bottom of it. You're talking a place with more security, quote unquote, arguably than any place on the planet. More surveillance equipment, more security individuals and various apparatuses, and no one seems to be able to find out who it was that left this illicit substance in the White House. We have been told by the media that, well, it was an area that is highly trafficked, which we now know is not the truth. We've also been told that, well, we probably will never be able to figure out who this was that did this. Let me ask you this. If Donald J. Trump were still president, occupying the White House, and mysteriously a bag of cocaine was found in the White House, how long do you think it would be before someone was held accountable? That's rhetorical. You don't have to answer. We already know the answer. And yet, the adults are back in charge. I ran across an article over the weekend entitled, 7 Times Joe Biden Vowed to Restore Integrity and Decency to the White House. So apparently none of this stuff mattered at the time Joe Biden was telling all of America that if you elect me, integrity and decency will return to the White House. Okay? Time number 1. Quote, "It's time we bring integrity back to the White House." Going on to say that I will put my integrity, my whole career in public service to this nation up against Donald Trump's lack of integrity any day of the week. Do tell. Do tell. Second time, October 2020, when teaming up with Vice President Kamala Harris, kicking off their campaign tour, posting on Twitter, "In the fight for our democracy, we need to bring integrity back to the White House." Well, first of all, it's disheartening when you have the leader of the free world not understand that we don't have a democracy. We are a representative republic, not a democracy. But here's a guy running to lead the nation that is the leader of the free world and doesn't know that we're not a democracy. That should have been a sign letting us all know we shouldn't vote for this guy because he's running for an office and doesn't even know what form of government we have. But I digress. January 2020, quote, "Like Vicky said, we need a president who will restore integrity to the White House." Huh. Number 4, Joe Biden again. "We need to restore the integrity of the presidency, the office of the presidency. My job is to just go out and make the case why Trump does not deserve to be president." Well, I mean, obviously you couldn't have integrity and decency in the White House as long as he's there. So what happened in the aftermath? Just a question. October 2019, quote, President Trump is leading the most corrupt administration in modern American history. We must restore integrity to our government and ensure our elected officials work for all Americans, not just the powerful. You get the idea. It goes on and on and on, over and over and over again. We need to restore integrity to the White House. Here's a question. Do you ever remember cocaine being found in the White House? Just a question. No, 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 no. But the adults are now in charge. You know, at some point, y'all, if America does not very quickly wake up and realize what's going on, you can stick a fork in us, y'all, because we're done. When you go through the list of things that this administration is responsible for, it is frightening beyond belief. Can you imagine, those of you that are like me, boomers, whose parents are no longer with us, can you imagine what our parents would think about what the office of the presidency has become? I guess, however, when you have a corrupt media on your side and you are able to fashion whatever you want as far as a representation of the highest office in the land, when you have that on your side, well, then it's fairly easy to botch the withdrawal from Afghanistan because you know there won't be any repercussions. It's fairly easy to pursue policies that have inflation tearing Americans' wallets apart because you know there won't be any repercussions. And of course, the list goes on and on and on. Supply chain crisis, illegal immigration, Chinese spy balloon, you name it, we've had it. And yet, some of y'all gonna still vote Democrat. Some of y'all can't wait for the next election so you can vote Democrat. If I did not love my country as much as I do, I would be tempted to say, okay, good for you. You get the government you vote for. But unfortunately, it is millions upon millions of ordinary, everyday Americans that will end up victimized by this administration. You do realize, do you not? The group of people hurt the most by inflation, supply chain crisis, the push for the transgender agenda, the literal collapsing of public education in this country. You do realize the people hurt the most are the ones that are the most loyal part of the Democrat Party. Sadly, by the time many of you figure this out, the damage is already done. But again, when you have a media that is on your side, willing to tell the American public all sorts of falsehoods, Karine Jean-Pierre, well, fentanyl is at historic low levels in America. And yet, 107,000 of my fellow Americans died last year from a fentanyl overdose. Now, I will never be the one to say I was the brightest bulb in the chandelier in math class. Anybody that was in math with me, algebra, calculus, you know, old Clarence was not the brightest bulb in the chandelier. But I do realize that 1 and 1 is still 2, y'all. You don't have to be, you know, a genius to figure this out. Meanwhile, we find cocaine in the White House. But it's time we restore dignity and integrity to that office. Listen, y'all. I am not telling you to be a Republican. I'm not. Please don't misunderstand me. Be a libertarian. Be no party. Be independent. But as I've said before, and I stand by it wholeheartedly, for God's sake, don't be a Democrat, y'all. Do you see what this has gotten us? Do you not see what voting primarily because the media told you Trump is a racist. He's racist, racist, racist. He's racist. He's white supremacist. Well, I simply ask you this. How's this working out for you? It's amazing. The guy they claim is the most racist on the planet. White supremacist. The black community in America did better under Donald Trump than any previous president. But you're not supposed to know that. I bet you know how much inflation is eating a hole in your wallet. I bet you know when you go to the store and the shelves are empty because the supply chain crisis is still there. I bet you know when the government announces, we're going to have to take some more of your tax dollars because we have all these people here illegally that we have to pay for. Maybe next time you'll put a little more thought into that decision. Not what the media tells you, not what the left tells you, what your wallet and your child's education tells you. Of course, now you would have to think to do that. And for a lot of y'all, that's asking just a bit too much. First break of today's show. When we come back, Tuesday, second segment, you know what that means, right? Yep, time for another edition of Now That's Just Stupid. That's next when we continue the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
You could be driving a Honda.
Improved from the front grille to the tailgate and equipped to take you on the adventure of a lifetime, the ride is just different in this new Pilot seat. Come see the all-new 2023 Honda Pilot, now on sale at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements. And that's where Lee Serio can help. His prepaid funeral plans make sure your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. With Lee Serio, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee or his wife Gretchen at 225-315-6329. Let Lee Serio give you and your family the peace of mind you all deserve.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central. taste the feeling.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You may not know, if you are new to the show, that in response to the ever increasing level of stupidity in this country, and for that matter, on the planet, we've instituted a segment entitled, "Now That's Just Stupid." The graphic on the screen, however, shows you we're not talking STUPID. That would be your normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill stupid. What we're talking about here, again, as the graphic shows you, requires a new spelling and a new word, as in STOOPID. Now that's just stupid. We start with, when are women going to put their foot down and be done with this crap? Have you seen the latest? You can't make this stuff up. The Netherlands last week crowned a biological male who thinks he's a woman as Miss Netherlands 2023, and will represent the Netherlands, this guy will, in the Miss Universe pageant. So in one fell swoop, they have violated women in the Netherlands, and as a result of crowning this guy, yeah, I said it, this dude, as Miss Netherlands, they now advance it to a universal level. A guy running for Miss Universe. STOOPID. Stupid. But you know, ladies, women, if you find this despicable and you haven't said anything about it, you're the problem. They will only do this when they know, well, the women aren't going to really say anything about it, so we can get away with it. When your daughter finds herself competing against biological males in sports, or in this case, beauty pageants, and you know it's wrong, and haven't said a thing, you're the problem. All women have to do is stand up and say, this is it, y'all. We're not going to stand for this crap. You would be amazed how quickly all of this would go away. But fear of being canceled or not wanting to rock the boat, many of you remain silent. I guess now you see what happens when you do. STOOPID. Stupid. Thirdly, you know, it's amazing if God blesses you to be around long enough, you get the opportunity to reflect back in life on things that were monumental to you. One of the things as a child, I say child, elementary age, that I very fondly remember was becoming a member of the National Geographic Society. When I became a member, the organization was such that you had to be nominated by someone who was already a member. That's the only way you could become a member of the National Geographic Society. My 6th grade humanities teacher, Mr. Ken Etheridge, in Kaiserslautern, Germany, called me into his office one day and said, Clarence, I want to do something, but I need your approval. I said, well, sure, Mr. Etheridge, whatever it is, just let me know. He says, have you ever heard of the National Geographic Society? I said, yeah, kind of, sort of. That's the ones that put out the magazine with the big yellow band all the way around the cover. He said, yeah, that's the one. He said, I want you to be a member. I said, really? He said, yes, sir, I want you to be a member. I said, okay, what do I need to do? He said, well, you don't need to do anything. The process is such that I'm already a member. I want you to be a member, so I'm going to nominate you for membership in the National Geographic Society. So I let him go ahead. And sure enough, I was accepted, a 6th grader. I'll leave that to you to decide what that says about the process. I was just enamored beyond belief that 1, he thought enough of me to nominate me, 2, that I was accepted. So the high point after being accepted of my life every month was going to the mailbox knowing today should be the day. And sure enough, here's the magazine. I didn't know if it was from my father or my mother, and then I'd see that yellow band all the way around the cover. And I knew, this is for me. This is the organization that I was nominated for and accepted by. This is my National Geographic. I would read that magazine till the cover wore off because I related to it. Well, last week, National Geographic announced that they are laying off all of their staff writers because subscriptions and readership has fallen so low. You know what that was, right? Get woke, go broke. National Geographic was very near and dear to my heart. I mean, just imagine a 6th grade African-American male in Kaiserslautern, Germany, being nominated for and accepted by a worldwide organization. I just knew I was hot stuff, y'all. And as a result, in all the subsequent years, National Geographic was my magazine until they went woke. You would think that they would have been able to see this coming. You would think, with all the other woke corporations that are now gone under, you would think that they would have had the sense to say, whoa, we might want to back this bus up because based on how it ended with this group, and this group, this does not bode well for us. But no, not them. Not them. And look at what they've become as a result. Now, for the record, I long since stopped reading National Geographic. I long since canceled my membership. I, a long time ago, realized I really don't want to be affiliated with these people after all. Now, keep in mind, I was in 6th grade at the time, so I really didn't know any better. Plus, we didn't have all of this foolishness that we do now. But National Geographic, just the latest in a long line of stupid. Finally, one of the scariest things to me, and points seriously to the demise of our country, is the number of people who live their lives not based on facts, not based on laws, but based on their precious little feelings. Why we allowed this to start, I do not know. But it is taking a toll on our country. Most people, well, I'll say many, I'm not going to say most, yet. Many people are of the opinion that their feelings matter more than your rights, your liberties, and your freedoms. For example, recently, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the website. AITA stands for, am I the, fill in the expletive deleted here. It's where people write in and ask, after telling you, okay, here's what happened with my family, co-workers, whomever, and I don't agree with this. I think this is absolute idiocy. Am I the, starts with an A, ends with an E, that's the website. So recently a mother wrote in saying that her daughter was getting ready to get married, but she didn't want Uncle Dave to come to the wedding. Had he abused her as a child? No, he was a loving uncle, always there to support her. Was he convicted of some heinous crime? No, guy led an exemplary life. The problem was Uncle Dave was a conservative. And she, the bride, was not comfortable being around conservatives. So Uncle Dave said, well, it's your wedding day. I want you to be comfortable. If my being there makes you uncomfortable because I'm a conservative, I won't go. So the wedding goes off. The mother then sends Uncle Dave pictures of the wedding. Oh, it gets better. It gets much better. Along with the pictures of the wedding that he was not invited to, told to stay away from, was also a note that read, and I'll paraphrase for you. Dear Uncle Dave, throughout our family's history, when our children would get married, you would give them a check for $1,000 in celebration of them getting married and starting the next chapter in life. My daughter wants to know, when can she expect her check? You can't come, but send your money. Thank you, Marty. Wait a minute. Wait. Back up the bus. Back this bus up. You don't want me at your wedding only because I'm a conservative, but you want my money. Funniest post of all, someone wrote, well, if I were Uncle Dave, after receiving pictures of the wedding and this note, I would send her a picture of a check for $1,000. You can't. How in God's name does this mother, and she's the problem, well, a huge part of the problem, how in God's name do you tell someone you can't come only because You are exercising a constitutional right to think the way you want to think. So I can't come to the wedding, but I want to know, when can I expect the check? Y'all, we are raising, I can't use that word. Marty, you and I will talk about this later. I can't use that word because this is a family show. When did we become a nation of you fill in the blank? And apparently, the mother and the daughter thought nothing of it. Thought absolutely nothing of telling this man, despite the fact that he's been a great uncle, only because he's conservative, believes in God and country, believes that the government should stay out of my pocket, believes that I should be responsible for me and mine, only because he has those opinions, do you tell him he's not welcome at your wedding? But when can I expect a check? STOOPID. Stupid. Bottom of the hour break. When we come back, time for a little Louisiana news. That's next. When we continue the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Come see the all-new Mazda CX-90, now on sale at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich, voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, you often hear in life that you are much better served stopping certain things from starting. Because once they start, you are going to have your hands full trying to rein it all back in. I am proud to say, as a baby boomer, growing up as a kid, there were certain things that were not acceptable. They were not acceptable by parents, not acceptable by neighbors, not acceptable by the whole community. It was just something that was not tolerated. Not only was it not tolerated, but typically the parents of these individuals were shamed beyond belief. In recent memory, we have watched in our state the ages of offenders accused of horrific crimes get younger and younger and younger. This past week in Garyville, Louisiana, 5 juveniles, including 2 brothers, ages 13 and 15, were arrested for a fatal drive-by shooting in St. John the Baptist Parish. 2 brothers, one 13, the other 15, in a deadly drive-by shooting. Oh, but it gets even worse. This drive-by shooting that killed a 19-year-old happened at 3:30 in the morning. I tried to think back to when I was 13, 15 years old. Trying to imagine, one, how in God's name I could have gotten out of the house at 3:30 in the morning. Then I tried to figure out what would have happened had I snuck out of the house at 3:30 in the morning at 13 years of age and was involved in a shooting that took someone's life. If you have watched this show for any amount of time, listened to me on radio, what have you, you know my late father, God bless him, spent 27 years wearing the uniform of the United States Army. So you already know, what it would have been like in the Buggs household had yours truly decided 3:30 in the morning, I'm 13 years old, I'm going to sneak out of the house and with 4 other juveniles engage in a deadly drive-by shooting. The first among many questions that comes to mind is, where were the parents? Well, Clarence, you got to understand, a lot of people nowadays, they're having trouble making ends meet. They might have been working their hustle job, you know, working the midnight to 6 shift. I could see that. But as a parent, you have to understand, these children did not ask to come here. You brought them here. You and somebody else engaged in an act of procreation, English teachers, forgive me, in 3, 2, 1, and y'all made them babies. 3:30 in the morning, a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old along with a bunch of other juveniles, murdering a 19-year-old. I have to be careful in times like these because I know it's a family show. But y'all know what I want to say, don't you? Y'all know, because you're thinking the exact same thing. Now that this 13 and 15-year-old have been arrested, it is my sincere hope that the parents will be the next ones to face the long arm of the law. I understand you got to work your hustle job. I understand you messed around and voted Democrat, and now the economy is such that you have no choice but to go and get a hustle job. But the fact still remains, these are your children, and you are responsible for them. I can only hope that law enforcement is looking at the parents as hard as they are the children. Finally, in Louisiana news, speaking of juveniles engaged in crime in Louisiana, last week, Vacherie, Louisiana, great town. Know some folks from Vacherie. There's a funeral held, according to the St. James Parish Sheriff's Office. After the funeral is held, Marty, help me out. Do white people like black people call it a repast where the family and mourners all get together for a meal after the funeral? In the black community, we call it a repast. Yeah. White people ain't never heard of this one. See, that's why you tune in to the Clarence Bug Show. Marty said, nope, we say a prayer, a few Hail Marys, we go home. Well, I guess that tells me, as if I didn't already know, that this was the black funeral. So when the repast is over, everybody's leaving, going to get to their car. Look at Dale. He's over there Googling repast. he's Googling repast. That's why I love you, brother. That's why I love you. The people are leaving the repast. And what do you think happened in the parking lot? I'll give you a hint. In the parking lot, after the celebration of someone's life, they open fire in the parking lot. And of course, white people don't do that either. There you go. Open fire in the parking lot, and a 6-year-old gets shot. Y'all, at what point white people hit the mute button on your remote? I'll give you a couple seconds to find it. Ought to be singing the theme from Jeopardy right about now. Black folks, at what point are we going to stop this foolishness? This was somebody's child that opened fire after the repast at a funeral, for God's sake, and a 6-year-old gets shot. Now, this is why I am always, thank you, Marty, appreciate you, brother. This is why I always get on the media, Democrats, liberals, progressives, and those on the left when they tell us, well, white supremacy is the greatest threat to America. Want to take a guess on how many white people were involved in that shooting after the repass? You want to take a guess on how many white people were involved with the 5 juveniles out at 3:30 in the morning shooting people? That's rhetorical. You already know the answer, in case you need a hint. You already know the answer. So the only question now is, black folks, when are we going to put an end to this? You do realize it's only people that look like me that can fix this. The government can't do it. Law enforcement can't do it. If we want to stop it at its root, at its core, it's people that look like me in our community that have to rein this in. It's not all that hard to figure out, y'all. It's not. And until we do, every time you lay your head down, black folks, on your pillow and go to sleep, when your phone rings, when there's a knock at the door, and because you don't know where your child is, or because your child was at wherever, party, gathering, you name it, unless and until we collectively stop this, you can expect it to continue. And all the white supremacy talk in the world is not going to do a darn thing about it. That's on us, y'all. Pure and simple. That's on us. Marty, were you telling me that's to the top? All right. Well, in that case, before I go any further, this is a horrible analogy, y'all, but it's the one that comes to mind. The way things are in our communities these days, you don't know from day to day, week to week, month to month, when your life or the life of someone you love is going to come to an end. That's why you need today to call my friend Lee Serio. Listen, y'all, when I grew up, prepaid funerals, you never thought about it. Because however long God wants me to be here, I'm going to be here. I don't have to worry about being caught up in a drive-by with some miscreant. I don't have to worry about something totally criminal, totally out of the blue happening and robbing me of my life. And more important, leaving your family to deal with the expenses and the trauma of your passing. That's why today you need to call Lee Serio and get the ball rolling on your prepaid funeral plan. Now listen, y'all, I get it. I understand. Talking about death and end of life decisions, it's not comfortable. I get it. But number one, your family deserves that peace of mind. And number two, you will not find a person easier to talk to about this than Lee Serio. Working with over 2,000 funeral homes across America, no detail is too large or too small. Give him a call, y'all. 225-315-6329. 315-6329, area code 225. And do your buddy Clarence a favor, will you? Let him know that you heard about him on the Clarence Bug Show. If it makes you feel any better and you think it'll kind of grease the skids a little bit, tell him I told you to call, and he'll take care of you. As good as gold, as genuine a person as you'll ever meet. And on top of all of that, you get to walk away after that conversation that I know is not all that comfortable. You end up going, well, if nothing else, my family now has the peace of mind that they deserve. Aren't they worth it? Aren't they worth it? Again, today must be the rhetorical question day. We all know the answer to that one. We all do. Give Lee a call and get the ball rolling, y'all. That way, whenever it happens, listen, I hope you live another 100 years. But the reality of life these days does not put the odds in your favor. And of all the things that you have to worry about, this should not be one of them. To the top, right, Marty? Okay. Before we get out of here, let me take the opportunity to encourage you and yours to no longer be silent about all the things that are affecting our society. You do realize many of us, for whatever reason, have refused to say anything. And that's a huge reason why we find ourselves where we find ourselves. It's not comfortable a lot of times. But is there anything worth having that isn't worth fighting for? We can no longer afford, my fellow Americans, to shove it off on someone else. We can no longer afford to say, well, that doesn't affect me. Maybe it doesn't now, but if you don't step up and say something, it will in the future. Guaranteed, it will. And the good thing is, in this country, we have the rights, the freedoms, and the liberties to stand up and make a difference. The only question is, are you up to the task? That being said, Marty's giving me the sign. My time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But you already know the drill, don't you? Yep, this day, maybe more so than any other day in history. I give it to you. You're right. America, we are in no way, shape, or form perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. You know the good Lord loves you, and you know I do too. You also know there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. We'll see you soon. God bless. You didn't think I was going to make it.